Hey, so I was recently reading my new issue of Toy Photographer magazine, issue 1, and I was decided to be a sociopathic narcissist and read my own article. So, if you're interested in reading this magazine, I'll put a link in the description below. You can just search it on Amazon, though, too. Toy Photographer issue 1, and it's the one with Darth Maul, the photo on the cover by Sean Kearney. So this is a cool new periodical all about toy photography, a little bit of diorama making, and all kinds of cool articles and explanations for how to get started with that. So this was put out by Umbra Toy Photography, and I contributed an article about sort of where I come from and why I do what I do, along with many other very talented artists in our space here. So if you're interested, it's cheaper than a Marvel Legends action figure, and it's print on demand. I ordered mine on a Friday, and I got it on a Monday, so it comes really quick if you want to check one of these out. But how are you? How's everybody going? How's everybody going for the last 2 weeks? This is what the our little friend here looks like, all completely dried, as I drop it, all completely dried up here, with a little poop hole that I drilled for it. And we're gonna take some of these little natural areas of where I made little flub ups like that, where the paint peeled or the cardstock peeled, and we're gonna turn that into weathering on this stream. Maybe we could even do a little bit of graffiti, and we're gonna put the logos and labels and decals on, and we'll try some. I'm not really sure how well it's gonna work on this gloss paint. I haven't done it on gloss paint in a while. I might have to scuff it up a little bit, but I want to do some alternative / advanced weathering techniques with you guys. I've shown some of these techniques in my dumpster weathering video, but I'll show you some other ones I have not shown off in that video in this stream. That is, I think, what we're going to cover this time around. This is Art in Real Time, episode 49, by the way. We've done 49 of these things, which is, I think I'm averaging close to 3 hours a stream for these. So what is that? That's getting close to over 150 hours of live stream making art in real time. There's a couple dozen of those episodes, I believe, still available publicly. The rest of them are in the members-only archives. So if you're interested in that, that's where you can find all the other episodes. And a full diorama that we did live that is only available in the members section. That's the Cambodian jungle diorama, which took like 11 streams to do. That's over there if you're interested, as well as more detailed versions of streams I put out, the edited versions of, like the Danger Room and the Jeddah City Star Wars 1/6 scale diorama. The full versions of those are available in the members only section in the Art in Real Time section. So anyways, this one's going to stay up here publicly, but when I get back around to doing live dios, we'll start migrating some of those once they're done over into that section again. But anyways, that's available if you're interested. But I'm trying to figure out what to do for episode 50. Since we're in 49, we're going to do some cool stuff here in this one. But episode 50 is the next one, obviously. 49, 50. That's how math works in numbers. Yay. If you guys have any ideas for what I should do for my 50th episode, I'd like to do something that I can do completely in one episode. And I'm considering making it a longer one, just for the fun of it. I don't know how much longer. I don't know if I mean like 3 hours and 4 hours or 5 hours or not. I don't know. But let me know what you'd like to see for my 50th episode. Anything you haven't seen me do or you'd like me to see me do again or differently. There's a lot of stuff I could do, but a lot of it takes a long time. So I'm just trying to figure out what I can do in one episode. So let me know whether you're watching now or in the future times. And if you're watching in the future times, hello. How is it? Has the world blown itself up yet with nuclear warheads? I hope not. Are you watching this in a Fallout bunker? Either way, thanks for watching. So anyways, let's get into it. I have a couple of things to show you guys that we're going to do some weathering with here, but let's first get into the logos, cutting those out and gluing those on. I just spilled my sewing needle pins all over my table. That's okay. But I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope this is fun for you, because it's really hot here in Reno, Nevada. I've got my fan on over on the other side of the shop. You could probably hear it a little bit in the background. Hopefully it's not messing with my sound very much, but I've got it going. So thank you guys again for all the likes already. I appreciate that. That just lets people know that I'm live and there's something worth watching, whether now or in the future times. Let me get you a good shot up my nose before I switch the camera around. There we go. Okay. Let's get this thing in focus here. Hope that's in focus. It was giving me a little bit of trouble the other day. Let me wipe my lens off really quick here. Zoom in, zoom out. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, all right, very nice. So generally when I do like basic weathering, especially if it's rust, I just go with the color Nutmeg, which actually I forgot to grab. Let me grab that. Cheap paint, so the color Nutmeg Brown, and any orange, really. Pumpkin orange, neon orange, crazy orange, whatever. But just like a medium brown and an orange, and you can create really, really realistic rust effects by just applying a top coat of paint with these two colors. There's a billion ways to create rust effects. You can use, well, I'll go over those in future videos in detail, but there's about a trillion ways to do it. I'm going to probably use a little bit of this, but I'm also going to use some other methods to create more subtle effects, leaning in again into that very subtle, hyper-real types of weathering, and I'll show you what that is after we, probably after we start this process, or maybe before. Maybe I should do this at the end since it's wet. The other process is mostly dry, and you'll see what I mean. But let's get to cutting out the logos and decals here, of which these are the ones that you get if you order a pre-printed template from me. I'll send you a sheet of this with the template if you want one, or you can get the downloadable one that comes with most of this in one sheet, and you can print as many as you like, right? But this is printed on a nice high gloss paper so that it matches what it would look like if it was new, which is kind of what we started with here. So I'm just going to get out, so you can do this however you want. I'm gonna get out my hobby knife. You can do it with scissors, you can do it on a Cricut, whatever works for you. Really doesn't matter in this case. So I hope that looks good. On my end, it looks pixelated, but let me know if it looks good to you or not. So what's up, Nightwolf 3176? What is up, Eric Bradshaw? And thanks everybody for being here. Get out of the way. Okay. What's up, Joe Toys 93? All right. So I'm just going to do this very slowly by hand. I'm probably just going to cut the straight lines and then round over my corners with scissors. Oop, I was a little off there. That's okay. That's why I have 5 of them. I did that on purpose. Boop. Okay. So now I can just take my scissors and just round over the corners. Like that. I don't know why I'm making that sound effect, but I am. Boop, there it is. And okay. Pretty good. Pretty good, pretty good. One. Let me do uno más. Uno más por favor. There we go. I guess the scissors are actually, I'm used to trying to cut thicker stuff, but this paper is so thin, the scissors, as long as you've got really high quality sharp scissors, scissors will do just fine. I'm so used to using the X-Acto, the box cutter, hobby knife, because I'm trying to make precise cuts in stiff material. But this is so flexible that the scissors, I think, are just fine. How's the weather where you guys are at? It is just like, it's funny because the actual temperature number is not that bad here, but something about our environment, and we're just not having a lot of moisture in the sky, so there's no clouds, and we're getting a lot more of these like afternoon rains than we used to have. The environment has definitely changed here in northern Nevada. Growing up, it wasn't that extremely hot. At least I don't recall it being that extremely hot, or at least feeling hotter than it really was. But now, as an adult, it just feels different. And I understand some of the factors. The city is like tripled in size since I was a kid. So that affects the environment. More cars, more people, more businesses, more energy being released into the sky and into the air. So, you know, it affects everything. We're basically terraforming it. I've heard that's what happens in Vegas. There's not enough water to support the population in Vegas, but so many people come in from the outside all year round, from around the world. They literally bring moisture with them. They bring, they bring their urine and their drinks and their liquids they bring. And it's enough when you have millions of people rotating through the, 16, 20 ounces of water they bring with them from their plane flight that they leave in Vegas at the bathroom or wherever is enough to increase the moisture, humidity, and water supply. So something like that has been slowly happening here in Reno over 38, 40 years. So, okay, it's weird. It's just weird. It's weird being in the same place and then noticing it's different. Anyways, cut this one out. This one's teeny tiny, so I'm going to use my X-Acto so that I don't accidentally, yep, I messed that one up already. Oops, that's why I give you guys extras. Try that again. I keep wanting to look through the camera when I cut things, and I'm like, I'm going to cut my finger off someday, so I shouldn't do that. This is a little arrow that goes on the actual opening mail slot, just to let you know where it all is. Oops. Gonna need the tweezers to glue this one on. It's a little baby logo. If I can get it in focus, there we go. Okay. Put that over there. Mess that one up. All right. Cut one of these trapezoids out with all the attention citizen, don't be dumb warning labels. And these graphics, I completely rebuilt these graphics in Photoshop. So you can't fully see them at this scale because the printer ink doesn't get that small. Or the printer head doesn't get that small. Even on a high quality laser printer, it's pretty hard to print that small. I know there's ones that can do it, but I don't have access to those. And I don't need them. I don't need to be able to zoom in on most of my pieces that far. This is close enough, but I did fully rebuild these graphics at 1:1 scale. I took high quality photos of my actual USPS mail drop box near my house, and I took those images and set them in Photoshop and then just rebuilt over them a fresh graphic. And then I modified the actual USPS logo so that I couldn't get in trouble with the Postal Service for using their trademark. So it's not actually their trademark. But you can't really tell on a sticker like this, especially this small. But it looks exactly like it. But there are just enough adjustments to where I cannot get in trouble. So, and you won't either. I did the same thing with my miniature dollar bills that I sell in my Etsy store. They are heavily modified, but to the point where you can't really tell. The $100 bills you can kind of tell if you look close, but the $1 bills you can't. Also, it's not even close to a size you could use as real tender, and that's all the Secret Service cares about, which apparently is the people who are responsible for overseeing currency fraud. So, crafty I am. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thanks for being here. Oh, and I forgot to cut out one of these. So, but anyways, if you buy these from me, the printable template or these actual printed templates, that's what you're getting. I completely rebuilt these logos from scratch. They are correct, except for some very subtle modifications I did to this, to the text, to the color, to the logo, so that it actually isn't ripping them off. Same thing even in this small printed logo right here that you can't even tell is there, as well up here in the corner. It's the same as this modified one. And then the collection times, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, this is the blank one. Sorry, I give you 2 filled out ones and 1 blank one. You see that? They're different. If you scan the QR code on this, by the way, it takes you to my YouTube page. I created a QR code as an Easter egg. Oh, cool, Crafty. I am. That's fun. I actually have had postal employees buy my pre-printed mail sheets. These guys. So I sell these too on my Etsy store. These are ones that I rebuilt of the boxes. So these are different. They're not perfectly to scale, but I made them so they could fit as much as possible onto a sheet. So these are the envelopes. These are the small boxes, the medium boxes, the large boxes, and the little clamshells. I sell these, and I've had 2 or 3 postal employees buy those for me and make them. So it's kind of cool. It's fun that they're getting involved. Never really even thought about that, but I've always made what I would want for my miniatures or need for my miniatures. And then if it was something that I realized other people would probably want access to, I've tried to make it available in my store for them so that they could get at it. You know, it's amazing how long it takes to build graphics like that too. I think every sheet that I sell of boxes or fast food or whatever took a long time because I had to pretty much rebuild everything from scratch or heavily modify it to work appropriately and look right when it was printed. And so it's just an insane amount of work, which is why I haven't done it in a long time. I did it for you guys, because I didn't want to just show you this and then have those of you who don't have the time to be like, oh, I can't do it, you know. I wanted to make it accessible. So anyways, but you know that. I've talked about that. But I'm glad you like it. I'm glad people like it. So, I was going to say what's on here. So on here, you can't really see it very well on the camera, but it's got, I put the location as the street that Marge Simpson talks to, what she says when she's trying to hide from the law. It's 123 Fake Street is the location of this box. And down here, the location of the actual post office is Sherlock Holmes' address. And the other location for the pickup here is Dr. Strange's address, and I put in the phone number is 867-5309, stuff like that. So, and then again, if you scan the QR code, which you can, I did it with my phone. It's very tiny, but your phone will scan it, and it'll take you to my YouTube page. So that's what I did on here. Obviously, if you get the printable graphic one, you could go in, if you're savvy enough with Photoshop, and put your own information on it if you wanted to, too. You could delete all the stuff in the white space and then just add text if you wanted to. All right. Let me, I'm glad you guys think that's cool. I was just trying to be sort of nerdy and goofy and, have it look legit. So I wanted to fill it out with stuff, but I didn't want it just to be meaningless. I wanted it to be kind of interesting or kitschy for whoever wanted it. Okay. So I think I want to use a piece of tape to give myself a line of reference for where my bottom of where I want my logos to go on either side is. That's all I need. I just want to be able to, when I put the sticker here or the logo here and I put the logo on the other side, they end up in the same spot. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm trying to decide if I want to use super glue or spray glue. Super glue is going to temporarily change the color because it's going to bleed into the paper a little bit. I'll probably use spray glue. That's going to end up right there. Let me see. Hold on one second. Could also use styro glue. or EPS glue. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll use EPS glue. So this is made by Hot Wire Foam. Well, not made by, but it's distributed by Hot Wire Foam Factory. It's just EPS glue. I have a link below for a general purpose one that's a few ounces. But you can get this directly from at hwff.com. I love this glue, and you can get it in very large quantities from them too. It's all roughly the same price. It's within like a few cents of each other per ounce. But I like to get these from this company because they have larger bottles that I use. But the Bob Smith Industries one, it's the same exact glue. It's just in a slightly smaller bottle, and I think it's roughly the same price. So link below if you want that, or they do carry it at Hobby Lobby. If you have a Hobby Lobby near you, it's just like I said, it's just a much smaller bottle. So I blow through a lot of this. When I buy this, I buy like 6 of these smaller bottles, and I buy like 6 or 8 of the bottles that are about 3 times this size, and I run through it all in about a year, so maybe less. So I'm going to use EPS glue because it's not water-based, and it won't, and super glue will soak into this and change the color of the ink a little bit. Depends on the type of paper you use. If it's actual regular printer paper, it will make it darker. This gloss paper, I haven't had to super glue this in a while, so I can't remember how much it alters it. It might end up looking like an oil stain if I don't distribute it evenly. Distributing the glue evenly with something that impregnates the paper like super glue or white glue will probably look fine, but if you don't distribute it evenly, it could look like an oil stain, if that makes sense. But this is non-water based, so if I can just get this to spread evenly on this, and what I'll do with this is I'll just kind of push it out and hold it back from all the way out to the edge by like 1/16 of an inch, and then I'll just push the glue outward once I lay it. And before it gets tacky, you can like wipe it off. So I'm just going to push this out close to the edge, and this won't change the color of the logo. Let me just use my finger to pick it up here. Yeah, see, there's no change in the color. It won't soak into the paper, but it will bond to it. Just a little tip there. You could use epoxy as well to do the same thing, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult to wrangle. There we go. So if I just push it down in the center and I'm just working the glue out to the edge, I think we'll be good. Because this stuff gets tacky really quick. That's another reason I love this glue. It's perfect for foam, but it actually works on basically everything. The only thing does it work on glass? Yes, it does. Yeah, see all these things it works on? Foam, rubber, paper, glass, fabric, plastic, metal, and cardboard. This glue is amazing, but it's the best glue for foams, but it works on everything else as well. So gluing things to foam, it works great. Even metal, like it says. And you can manipulate it a little bit before it cures or before it starts to dry. It'll get tacky in about 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how thin it is. The thinner, ironically, the thinner of a layer of glue you do, the faster it will get tacky and get hard. But the thicker the layer of glue, it's about the same bond, but you might need it for larger pieces. Same bond strength overall, and it takes like how many hours? Yeah, it takes 12 hours to fully cure, but it's in place after 30 minutes. Like you're gonna have to rip it apart after 30 minutes. So it's great for building fast too. Like I like to build fast and keep moving, and so it works great for that. One of my favorite glues, like of all time. Actually, I think it is my favorite glue of all time. That and super glue. All the other glues I use are just really out of necessity, like white glue, PVA glue, Gorilla Glue, epoxy, spray glue. I only use those when I kind of have to use them. But if I have an option, I'll either go to super glue or EPS glue. And I hate hot glue. There's only a few instances where I feel like it's actually helpful or useful. I hate it. It's not a permanent bond. No matter what it says, it's not a permanent bond. And I have dealt with the tragedy of it not being a permanent bond too many times to like it at all anymore. There we go. There we go. So there is our side to side. Let me see, is that in the same spot? Yep, good to go. So, and I did measure all of these to fit perfectly onto the shape and size that I cut according to this in my template. As you can see, that's designed to fit right there with about a 16th above and a 16th below. Those fit perfectly in the size. Like those actually, those could be printed a slightly bit smaller and have them look correct. I did notice on a lot of these post office boxes, sometimes this logo is too big or too small. So Dale M, I appreciate that. You know, I think about those videos a lot where I do just a video about all the types of glues, all the types of foams. And then I realize there's a lot of videos out there on YouTube already. And then I kind of forget, you know, but I know there isn't one specific to the crafting style that we do here, or there's very limited. So I do see the value in that. I appreciate the suggestion. I will probably get around to that eventually. I just, you know, I like making the stuff, you know, I like making the stuff and talking about it while I make it. I think some people don't realize how much they're missing from videos they think they don't want to watch, whether it's my channel or anybody else's. I often learn so much by watching things I wouldn't think I would be interested in. I've talked about this many times, but I learned so much from watching other artists work in other mediums. I've taken tools and materials and different things from metalworking, from cosplay, from electronics videos, from engineering videos, and applied them to dioramas and miniatures. And it's just one of those things where if you just pay attention and listen, you can find ways of applying it. And there's a lot of stuff in all my videos. You go back and watch my videos, there's a lot of stuff I share in there. Things people go, when are you going to talk about this? I'm like, I already did. But I talked about it in like my skate park video or in my X-Men diorama video, but people just don't know. They go, well, I don't care about learning how to make an X-Men Danger Room diorama. I'm like, yeah, but if you just watch the video, you're going to learn a bunch of different techniques you can apply to what you do want to know. So sometimes we get stuck in that, I want to learn the one thing the one way, not realizing we can learn that from other things. So that's kind of why I say that that's why I haven't been super motivated to make like a top 5 materials list, which I do want to do those, don't get me wrong, but I haven't been motivated to do it because I'm like, I kind of already share all that stuff. I just don't share it in that listicle type of way. What's up, Fishnet? But I know people like those, so I got to get around to doing those. I got to get out of my own head on that. Another reason I haven't done those, I keep, as I'm remembering here as I'm talking, I want to go through my video library and download examples of me already doing that, so I can showcase the videos I did it in, so people can go watch those videos and realize what's there. But it takes time to go through your library. You know, alternatively, I'd have to refilm me using those things on a new piece or a new technique, which takes just as much time. I'd have to come up with a new way to use it on camera to demonstrate it for the video. I could just talk about it, but I feel like there's way more value in showing it and talking about it rather than just talking about it. I retain things if I see it used and I see it used in an example. So I want to demonstrate it and I want to work through all of that, you know what I mean? For somebody, whether I use stuff I've already worked on or make something new. So it's the challenge of going back through all that. It's the challenge of being a YouTuber. It's a lot of work, no matter what you do. Even if you just talk and have pre-recorded videos or videos made of images that are already made, it's a lot of work, just the editing. So all of these decisions, all these things affect a lot of times what I do and what I talk about, what I have time to do. And I have to do something I'm interested in, otherwise I'll get bored too. I got to do something people I'm interested as well. So crafty I am. You know, when I did a lot of crafting and hobbies and things with my dad, when we built model kits and little wooden things and foam, 1/4-inch foam board structures, we used tacky glue all the time. But after using EPS glue, I'm like, I'd never even have any desire to buy tacky glue. I have some tacky glue, but it's probably dry. It's a good glue. But again, I'm all about, I want to keep moving and not wait. And I can move faster with EPS glue, and it's actually stronger. It's definitely stronger. I don't know by how much. I haven't done a test, which, again, that's another video I could do. But EPS glue is way stronger. Like, I can put white glue or wood glue between two pieces of foam and it'll hold really well. But if I take it out in the sun and then I put it in the cold and I take it out in the sun and put it in the cold so it's hot, cold, hot, cold, I can crack it apart. I can't do that with EPS. So the expansion and contraction is the enemy of glues, especially hot glue, which is why I don't like it, which is what I already said. But the EPS glue, it's so viscous in the way that it works. I don't know the exact chemical science behind it, but I looked it up a long time ago, but I've forgotten most of it. I looked up some of the chemistry behind some of these glues. That's something I wanted to get more familiar with, and especially when I was working with resins, I really wanted to understand what I was doing and be comfortable with it. And it's one of those things that I know intuitively now, but if I tried to like lecture on it or like teach a class on it, I probably wouldn't feel exactly competent. Because I know intuitively what to do, which is one of my things that I know some people they get criticized, like in my electrical lighting video. You're not explaining this right. You're stupid. I'm like, well, I know what I'm talking about intuitively because I've done it and I did educate myself in the past. I don't need to re-educate myself. I'm just trying to share it with you. So sometimes the words don't come out as technical as certain people would like, but I know I'm telling you the right thing. So same thing with glue and resin. So again, these are all factored into how I present things in videos. So here we go. Just about there. Whoop. I need my eraser. Ooh, I forgot to put the cap back on my knife. Don't do that. That's bad. I'm gonna use my eraser as a push. Actually, I'm going to use this as a clay sculpting tool, but it's got a non-marring surface or non-marring material. There we go. Sweet home Alabama. All right, well, that's basically the logos. So this is like your fresh mailbox, right? And as I explained in the previous video, you could do rivets all the way around. You could do it with heads and nails. You could do it with a little what are they called? Scrapbooking pearl dots you can buy in the scrapbooking aisle. They stick on, but I super glue and stick them on. Those are great. They're a little bit large for this scale, but they can work in other sizes and scales really, really well. You can get little circular cake topping dots and glue those down and then paint those. I've seen guys do those as rivets on things and they work great. You can, there's a lot of things you can do. So if you wanted to add those, I'm not going to do it to this just because it's very tedious, takes a long time, and I'm trying to keep this to 2 videos. So, but again, if you wanted to go for that, you could do that. Add all the rivets. There's rivets here that hold this piece in, like they side rivet it in because it's all folded sheet metal. There's some down here too. There's rivets down here that hold in this bottom plate. So I encourage you to go look at your local mail drop box, and you might notice a lot of similarities. You might notice some differences. So I'm going to put a little, so I do want to put a little screw hole here. So crafty I am. I use a laser printer. I hate inkjet printers on principle, at least home inkjet printers. There are certain things though you should print in ink. But these I printed these on laser because the laser usually gets a straighter, cleaner line that doesn't bleed unless you have a very, very high quality home inkjet printer. But I print these on color laser printers. So I get these professionally printed at a print shop. So I have a black and white laser printer at home that I use for black and white, but I take them to a print shop and have them printed. If you wanted to print them at home, I will tell you, anything over about $250 for a color laser printer will probably do what you need. I'm just so used to taking them to a print shop because I used to work in a print shop, and I buy them in batches that are cost effective for me, so I don't have to buy and maintain a laser printer. But it's about the same price, honestly. I'm just so used to it. It's in my routine. So, but if you have, I'm telling you, if you have a good laser printer at home, or you want to just invest in one and do it all, it's totally the same. It'd probably actually save you a little bit of time. I'm just so used to it. I take my files to a printer or email them to a printer, and I know the print shop, I know the owners. I go and get that done. I'm just so used to it, and their printers are slightly higher quality. It doesn't matter at this scale, but when I print in a larger scale like 1/6, it does make a difference. But you're probably not going to be making a lot of the same stuff I do, because I'm talking about making stuff for like companies or advertisements, and I need to get way higher detail, at least for me to be comfortable with. But I just haven't invested in a color laser printer at home in a long time. I got rid of the old one I had and didn't upgrade. So that's just the truth of the matter. But anything over $250 in a color laser printer should be perfectly fine to achieve this. You should be just fine with it. It'll look the same as this. So just so you know. I'm going to get a drill bit. This is a 1/16, I think. Yeah, this is my 1/16 inch drill bit. And I'm going to drill a hole to put a nail in here to act as my keyhole. And I'm going to mark the whole location with a skewer. I'm just going to visually do this. I want it to be right below this trapezoid. And right about there. Whoops. And then I'm going to drill a hole for it. There we go. So I will tell you, these are all little finish nails that I've gotten over the years. I buy a lot of these things at garage sales and estate sales. You can buy all these from Home Depot, but they're going to cost you a lot more. So, which is fine. If you're only going to do this once in a while, it doesn't matter. But all these little finishing nails like this, like a little tray like this is going to be like $5, and this can be like $5, and that's going to be like $5. So you're going to spend hundreds of dollars over the life of doing this. But if you go to an estate sale or a garage sale where they're selling nails and tools and materials, you could probably find little baggies like this. I have all these in little bags because I got them all in a tin. I think I gave the guy $1 for the tin, and it came with all these different finishing nails. And I've had these for years, and I hadn't had to buy any finishing nails for any of my projects. So I have like these little brass ones. So you see I pop that in there. There's your instant keyhole. So I gotta decide if I want to go with brass or if I want to go with nickel-plated metal. There's my nickel-plated metal. I think I like the brass one better. That's a big head too. You get a smaller head. Hello. What's up, Troy Dodson? How you doing? There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue the gold one in because I like that. I think it looks more like like a brass keyhole, you know, lock. I'm not trying to do the actual lock. Like if you wanted to, you know, even a 3D printer is gonna struggle with getting the keyhole in there perfectly. You could print a graphic. If you could just print a circular little graphic and glue that on too. There's different ways of approaching this, but I'm just gonna go ahead and glue that in the way that it is. Because I like it a lot. I'm just going to put glue on the nail head and let the sliding of the nail into the hole glue itself into the hole. That's actually probably way too much glue. Well, I'm glad you're doing your best every day. Keep it up. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming by. I really mean that. Hang in there. There it is. I coated the nail and I just let the pushing into the hole kind of line the hole with the glue and squish out behind it, and that should be sufficient. And then again, I could go in here and I could glue nail heads, or I could glue little cutoffs of skewers, or I could get little tiny itty bitty, that's not even a word, itty bitty, whatever, nuts to glue there, because this is where they bolted into the concrete on these little tips, these little wing tips. Excuse me. But I'm going to probably just leave those as they are. I think it's sufficient like this. You know, I'm fine with the way that looks. But now we can get into some of the subtle weathering. I think I said I'm going to do the wet weathering last, just because I don't want to accidentally ruin my own weathering job. And I notice I'm getting like finger grease on this, so I'm going to take a microfiber cloth and just wipe some of that grease off for this weathering process. I don't want a bunch of my finger grease on it because it will mess with my control over that. I could just see that there was a different sheen, and that's from my finger grease. So I'm grabbing it on the edges now so that I don't smear a bunch more on there. Okay, so advanced weathering techniques. Pastel sticks, an artist's best friend. These are used a lot in miniature clay food making to create very, very subtle gradients, textures, and colors in miniature food. But you can also apply it dry to hard surfaces and then seal it in if you want to, or just leave it sitting there. The pastels are usually mixed with like some type of substance, depending on how they're made, either a synthetic substance or a wax or some type of gum. There's a billion different types. These are just basic ones you can get at the store. Just these Master's Touch Fine Art Studio oil. Are these oil pastels? Yeah, these are oil-free pastels. I forgot if it tells me which type these are. They're oil-free soft, so I don't think it tells me the main ingredient in these, but it's a gooey, soft ingredient that you can manipulate, and you can basically use the soft nature of how these are made. These are like chalk, but they're not chalky, if that makes sense. And you can smear it on and create weathering effects or highlight effects, right, with pastels. And you can also use these, don't tell anyone I told you, you can also use these and colored pencils to weather action figures and dolls. Don't tell anyone though, it's a big secret. But it's a really easy way to add hyper detail to things. So oil works fine, regular's fine. It doesn't really matter for what we're doing here. It's only going to matter if you're working with certain canvases or materials that won't cooperate, but gloss painted miniature mailboxes should be fine. So let me grab, what do I want to start with? What do I want to do? All right, I'm going to grab some of this sort of rusty color. I'm going to grab this browny color. I'm going to grab this really brighty orangey color. And I'm just going to go with that for now. If I feel like I need different tones, maybe I'll get into these. This is the actual orange. This is like a flat orange, and that's like a orangey brown. But this is the orange. So we can then take, where's my scraper? Hold on, I need some scrapers. And some brushes. So you don't have to, you can just do this with a knife, right? You can just do this with a box cutter if you want. But I like to use these because I have a little bit more control with them. So I'm going to take, you can see where I've already done it here. I'm going to take and I'm just going to scrape off some of this material into my tray here. See that? Sorry, you probably couldn't see that in the camera. It really doesn't take much either. This stuff spreads around pretty easily. And then I'm going to scrape here. So if you're doing this onto something that is like a hard plastic, like let's say you wanted to add rust to the metal of a Marvel Legends character's metal arm or a Star Wars Black Series blaster, you could spray down a coating of matte clear onto the action figure, like actually get spray enamel that is matte, M-A-T-T-E, and spray the action figure with it. You see that? It's already all over my fingers. See, this is how easily you can control it. You can brush it around and do this, but as an effect. If I'm paying attention and not looking in the camera, I wouldn't do it to my cutting mat. There we go. So if you spray down some matte clear, what the matte clear will do is it'll create a texture on the surface of the plastic. A lot of customizers do this technique. You can also do this with, not on a, I wouldn't say on like an action figure, but on other materials. You can lay down Mod Podge. You can lay down even spray glue, clear spray glue. You just want to create a surface that's got some level of roughness to it that will, where this stuff can kind of grip onto it, or it is enough of a squeaky surface, if that makes sense, that has a natural, that's not like this, too slidey, too shiny. This, it's going to have some resistance on a molecular level. When I put my finger on it and press, it's going to resist. This is not going to resist. This is going to resist a little, meaning on a nanomolecular level, this stuff will have something to bite, right? But on an action figure that's like cast acrylic, like a Marvel Legends or a Black Series, or even a Hot Toys are pretty, the paint sealant is maybe fine, depends on what you're looking at. But, or you can even take really, really fine sandpaper, like 800 grit sandpaper or higher, and you can lightly, I say this on purpose, lightly, because you don't want to grind off the paints that are already on. Excuse me. You don't want to grind off the paints that are already on there. But you can sand the figure to create that grip, or you can spray it with like a clear matte acrylic to create that grippy surface for this stuff to sit on. And then once you put it on and like it, spray it again with clear acrylic. So it stays on and you don't rub it off with your fingers. So just so you know, you can paint new faces that way on figures, or you can do eyes. I've seen eyes done that way in the doll world. I see a lot of doll makers using the colored pencils and pastels to create beautiful eye colors and do makeup on dolls. So you could apply the same thing to 1/6 scale action figures, you know. It's pretty cool. We're going to use it here. And because you're here and you watch this video, you get to see the technique in action. And then just use some brushes you don't mind kind of ruining, because these are going to get stuffed with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down the brightest colors first. I'm going to find a natural crease or crack in the material from my construction process. I might need to use some water on this or just get my brush damp. I'm going to see how it behaves. If it all blows off immediately, that means I just need some moisture, of which I have some sitting over here in a cup. But you can just go like this and you get it all up in that brush. It's kind of hard to see because the brush is a similar color. But then you get in here and you can just tap it into place and get super. It's once I wipe it off and blow it off, it'll be less dramatic. Mixed with white glue, yeah, you could. I have seen that. I haven't actually done that. I just haven't had the need for it. But yeah, you could mix it with white glue. You're probably going to want to mix it with, well, I don't know. I would say experiment. But you can. But I would say you probably, depending on the surface, you're probably going to need to experiment. So I'm just going to go around this bottom edge here with it. And a lot of this, you see this pretty bright. I'm going to be taking most of that off. All right, actually, I probably should be wearing gloves. Hold on, let me get some gloves. Glove slap is a little glove place where we figure craft. What is up? Figure craft makes some of the coolest unboxing and review videos for 1/6 scale collectibles I think I've ever seen. It's like he's turned his collecting and presentation of his collection into an entirely new level and hobby in unto itself. Thanks for being here, man. So I'm just going to go around. I'm not going to go all the way around, but I just wanted to creep into like these edges. Pop culture living room. Costa, what's up? If you guys don't know, pop culture living room teaches you how to build display cases from scratch. Really, really cool ones out of easily accessible materials. So you don't have to wait for those distributors to send you ones that take forever. All my friends are here. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming by. All right. Again, we're going to remove most of this. This is just to get some of those orange highlights, and I'll add more later. It's just to kind of get, and you don't have to even start with the brightest color. I like to start bright and dull down with this stuff because I can take it away easier. Paint, you can wipe away. Actually, it's very similar to paint, I guess, just the way in the order in which you apply it. But you can start dark and go light, start light and go dark. It is harder, though, to add lightness to the darkness once you've done dark with this stuff. So I feel like I'm going to need to add some water to this because it's pretty light here. But we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Let me just wipe this away, and then just see how much stays on it. I'm going to lightly wipe it away. I'm not going to press down. I want to go for subtlety here because I'm going for that hyper real look. Okay, there we go. So see, we've got like some collected, now we've got like these collected orangey rusty areas here. That's what I was trying to get. Got a little bit down here. Like I said, I wiped most of this away, but I want it to accumulate, like right in here. There's a highlight in this edge in here. There's highlights in this edge. It's very hard to see, but as we add to this, I'm going to leave this empty because this is covered by the rain. I just want it to be built up very subtly. So now I'm going to grab the red. And you know what? I think I'm going to just add a little bit of moisture to my brush here. Just a little bit. Gonna dab it in the red. And then go back to the bottom and start adding some of the red. So this does create a lot of dust in the air. I have a fan blowing, but if you're in an enclosed space, I would recommend wearing a mask for this so you don't breathe pastel dust. It's not exactly healthy. So just so you know. And now I'm going to start maybe mixing these together. If you're doing this in an enclosed area, or you need to keep your area that you're doing this in clean, don't have a fan on, wear a mask, because this is going to leave dust and color particles all over the place. Excuse me. I got over a cold 2 weeks ago, and I still have this stupid residual cough. Whenever I get a cold where I cough, I have a cough for 2 months. It drives me nuts. My throat gets scarred way too easily. I also want to show you too, additionally, you can literally just take the pastel stick and rub it on if you want. Sometimes because you're pushing with more pressure and heat, I get a little bit more than I want. Yeah, actually, that's probably a little bit more than I want there. So, but if you know you're going to want a bright highlight or strong low light or whatever in a certain area, you can just use the pastel stick. In fact, because the red seems to be adhering less than the orange, I'm going to use the red stick like I just did here, just to encourage it. And I might need to switch to my fingers. Sometimes you need to apply heat too, to get the stuff to melt a little, because it's designed to kind of behave that way. That's why the oil pastels, see a lot of artists covered in black from the charcoal pastels. They use their fingers to create blends. So I put my gloves on, but let me see if I can get enough heat through my glove. Maybe. Yeah, I think that's working. I'm going for subtle here, so I'll add some paint later just to demonstrate the paint. There we go. Look at that. That's exactly like what I want. This this little edge in there where you get accumulated water over the course of a decade, and it just creates this little tiny highlight. So the kind of thing when you take it out into the sun and take a photo of it, just enough of it will get washed out. Just enough will get washed out in the photo to where you won't notice it as brightly as you see it here, but it will be there, which will make it look real. And that's the type of thing that tricks your eye into not questioning what it's looking at. That's what I try to go for with a lot of my stuff, unless I'm getting a specific request not to do that. There we go. Okay, so enough heat's going through my glove, thankfully. You may need to go gloveless and just wash your hands afterwards. Whoops. I knew that was going to happen. All right, I'll glue that back on in a sec. I cracked my foot off. You can even go over the logos, which I will a little bit here, because arguably you'll get rust coming down and dripping down, because these are probably made of like galvanized steel, so you're going to get a lot of galvanization and rust and things combining in weird ways and creating like weird metallic things. What's up, CT603? Congratulations on your son's graduation, by the way. CT's son graduated from high school. I think I did actually just chip a little bit of paint off there. That's okay. That actually looks realistic, because that's a piece of metal under there. Excuse me. Okay. So this is kind of what I was going for here. Very, very subtle. Let me just put some here on this. A little bit of orange. There we go. And now we've got the brown. I don't even know if I'm going to need this. This looks pretty good without it, but maybe I'll put some just down near the feet where you'd have soil getting stirred up. You know what I mean? And then I'll come back around and kind of rub that as well. I probably won't use colored pencils, or maybe I will if I have a silver one to see if I can get some scratches. Sometimes you need the higher quality colored pencils to do the silver scratches. Sometimes it works without it. We'll see. I'm just doing this because this is where you'd have like, it would rain and then you'd get dust kicked up and then stuff would get stuck and, you know. So now I'm going to go back to this and go in here with the, there you go. You can't see that, can you? Go in here with the brown. You can also use warm water to help. This thing is about pastels. Artists have used them for years because they're super versatile. Heat, water, moisture, even chemicals, they're going to behave differently. And so I would encourage you, if you've never used them, just experiment. Watch some pastel painting videos. Watch some oil pastel, some acrylic pastel painting videos, and just see how artists use them on flat surfaces and see if you can apply those techniques to a three-dimensional model or an action figure or a blaster or whatever whatever you're using. That's again, like, so that's how I do some of my stuff, is I watch other artists work with a medium I'm interested in, and then I figure out how to adapt it. And usually it's incidental. I just pick things because I'm interested in them, and then I end up finding something. I'm like, hey, I could use that here, you know, just like that. I don't even know what I said, but I said something. I've decided I need a little bit more up here. I'm gonna do this. There we go. I'm getting bolder as I go here. Okay. All right. Just get back to kind of melting it into place here. Wipe that up. And since this is a piece of wire we put right here, I'm actually just going to scrape this paint off where I got some of the, let me use my knife for this. Some of that paint, the blue paint came off, and I'm just going to scrape it right off. Oh, Oh my goodness, come on. Now it doesn't want to cooperate. Come on. There we go. So there we got a little piece of exposed metal, like maybe some kid came up and the thing wouldn't open or it was locked and he kicked it and it chipped it, right? All these little things add to the weathering. Okay, glue, glue, glue. Let me re-glue the little footsie on. Put some bird poop on top. Hey, that's actually a pretty good idea. I know you're being comical, but that's actually a great idea. Now I want to do that. Put some bird poochie. That's what my roommate used to say when he said poop. He said poochie, just like that. I don't know why. Jeremy was a funny guy. He is a funny guy. Not was, is. Okay. Look at the mailbox. It looks so real. I didn't mess up on my live stream. Oop, I'm getting a little bit of warping in the glue. One thing about that glue, the EPS glue, I will say, if you don't apply it evenly, you can get little air bubbles because the glue off gases. And so I got these little air bubbles. I might have to pop those. Yeah, see, I popped it and some glue came out. Yippee! That's okay. I can wash that off later. I forgot to mention that. You got to apply the glue as evenly as possible when you put it down, especially with something that's non-breathable, like this gloss paper. It's not really breathable because it can create little bubbles, almost like pizza dough bubbling up that wasn't docked, the little docker that pokes holes in pizza dough. You kind of have to account for that. So sorry, I forgot to mention that. This one's good, and this one looks pretty good. Maybe a little bubble right there. And I'll probably have to pop those tomorrow. That's okay. That's what I get for doing live work. Okay. So now, let me think. I really want to do bird poop now. I don't think I've ever even tried to do... Well, I did do bird poop. I say I did do bird poop on the edges of my Gotham City diorama alley that I did for Eric Studdard. There's bird poop on the edges, so still too clean. Oh, shush. It's mine, not yours. I did that backwards. So I'm just trying to demonstrate techniques here. Don't worry. It will get dirtied up more when I apply the paint, but I wanted to do the dry weathering first, just to show that. Master's touch. All right. Maybe I can do the bird poop with a white pencil. I'm curious how this silver looks. It probably just looks gray, but I'm going to try it anyways. All right, let me just see. Does this even look like anything? Not really. Let me just... Nope, I'm going to do it with paint. It works better on matte, like I said. Colored pencils are a lot harder than the pastels, so they work better on a harder surface that has got a matte finish. Just gonna... How does that look? Oh, that looks pretty good. Okay, so this is a silver colored pencil. I'm just gonna use this to do the edge weathering. You could alternatively do a dry brushing technique with paint, but this is actually doing pretty good. See how much wipes off. Almost completely wipes off. Okay. So I'm going to have to, you know what? Let me get some sandpaper. This is 800 grit. Let me just do this. I'm just going to sand the edges where I want to do some metal weathering. I don't know why I went into a Heath Ledger Joker style voice, but I did. There we go. Just to create a little bit of a grip for something to grab onto. I don't know if you can even see it on the camera. I can see it in here, but it's just creating a little bit of a metal highlight Yeah, there we go. See that? There's a little bit of a sheen there in that seam now. A little bit of a metal highlight right there. This is definitely more than I think I've ever showed in the video here, guys. So I just haven't had the right material to do it on. You know, when I'm doing a big danger room or a Grogu grotto diorama, I'm not going to use this method. So I think this is the first time I've ever done this on camera. So here we are. A lot of the prop masters and miniature artists who work in film and do commercial stuff, these are methods that they use, along with many other things, to get their realistic effects. Definitely, there we go. You see that? You see that really good on the edge there? Love that. So again, if you could use paint for this, which I normally do, it looks great. Paint looks amazing. But if you really want to control how much and how subtle, start with something subtle like this. And then if you really need more scratches or more, then you can grab your paints. Oops. Really see the change there on these legs and stuff. And again, when you do yours, I'm sure you're going to do it very differently. And I see some of you going, do this, do this, do this. You know, we're all going to approach it differently. I'm just kind of doing what feels right here as I do it. And if you would have done something different, you should make one of these and try it the way you're envisioning. You might like it better. And I think I saw somebody mention that it's going to be different in the region that it's in, the way that it's made, the environment, the humidity. Excuse me. All these things are going to affect how much you should or shouldn't weather something to make it look right for your area. So that's also something to take into consideration is, oops, what is going to look right for the environment you're putting it in. Nope, too small. And now I'm just going to go over this with this and just kind of wipe off the dust. Oops. I'm very happy with the way this looks. Trust me, when I take this outside, it's going to look awesome. Okay. Now we'll do some wet weathering. What I'm going to do, though, before I do that is I'm going to spray a little bit of matte clear around the bottom just to keep everything in place. So as I add moisture, it doesn't just delete everything I just did. That's what I'm going to use. And I'm purposefully spraying the bottom half and gradating it out as I go up because I want it to look like the bottom has had more exposure to the elements than the top. Like maybe there was a flood or a water splashed or people have kicked it or it's sun faded. Actually, I might do the sun fading more on like one side. There we go. More on like one side than the other. Yep. Because that'll make, if you spray a glossy paint with a matte clear, it'll make it look like it's faded. Here, I'll show you what I mean. You might already be able to see it on camera. Here we go. So you see it's still glossy on top, but as I turn it, it's a little bit faded down here. And you can, it's super hard to see on the camera because the camera wants to auto adjust the colors, but right here, you can kind of see it here. The blue looks slightly lighter now here than up here. And up here, see, I sprayed the matte up here. So right here, it looks like there's almost like a sun faded spot. And right here, that's the matte interacting with the gloss behind it, looking like the sun has eaten away at the clear coat that originally went on this. So same thing here, I faded it up. So you see like it's blotchier down here and more faded down here. That's like the sun eating away at the original paint finish, right? So I've got some variation top to bottom. Okay. Again, these all contribute to the realism of it, making it look like it's really sitting in an environment. And you wouldn't necessarily, if you just saw this and you went, oh, that's a really cool looking miniature, you wouldn't, if you don't know how these techniques are done, you might just assume, hey, they did a good job and move on. But you realize like all this thought went into this to create a subconscious feeling like, yeah, now you can see it. It's lighter blue here. It was all the same rich blue before, but just that clear coat, spraying more around the bottom and doing a little bit up the side here, a little bit up the side here, creates a slight gradient and wear in the paint finish that just makes it look like it's been sitting out in the sun. Okay. Now I'm going to get some of this nutmeg brown. We really don't need much. Like that's probably enough for this small piece. If I was doing a dumpster, I would I would go with like a whole full one of these and one of these, because I'll go over the whole dumpster and then wipe back off what I don't want. Okay, so again, I'm gonna go in the brown. I'm gonna just kind of fill the brush up, and then I'm gonna go underneath first. I'm just gonna tap and dab. I'm gonna tab it with a can of soda. No, I'm just gonna tab it in place. It's kind of hard to see at this angle, sorry guys, but I'll show you once here. Maybe this is better. Just gonna dab it in, and I'm intentionally dabbing, stippling to create a texture. I'm doing that on purpose because the paint, it will flatten a little bit as it cures, but it's still going to have some undulation to it, which we want, because then it looks like peeling paint that's starting to rust. So I'm just stippling, right? Stippling, dabbing, whatever you want to call it. Not a lot. I'm going to try to be subtle. When I do larger pieces, I kind of go crazy and then take away what I don't like, which is another method. With cardboard, it's hard to take away because with cardboard, the takeaway method is using denatured alcohol or rubbing alcohol or acetone to remove it. And if I try to use that on this, it could warp it. So I'm trying to add little bit by little bit, whereas on larger pieces, I would add a ton and then take it away. And I just have to be more cautious because of the base material I started with. If I use too much, it could eat through and influence the humidity levels and just make it degrade. Probably not the right terminology, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. So you see there's a texture getting built up there. And this is bright and shiny when it's wet, but it's going to get duller as it dries. So you got to take that into account too. Whatever paint you lay down is going to be really bright when you first plop it on, but it's going to dull up as it dries. So just kind of take the brightness level and cut it in down by 30% or 40%, and that's probably what it's going to end up looking like when it's done. And then I'll kind of drag it out and create little areas of rust that kind of occurred on their own, right? Like that. Right, and I'm obviously mostly going to do this on the bottom, but obviously I get this natural bleed over as well, and I can take that and I can sweep it up like that with my finger. And it helps create natural looking areas of rust. So I can also take this and I can smear it in there and then wipe it back away. This is where you want to be careful. Put too much and it can be overkill. Just a little bit at a time. See that? So rust smear right there. Skid marks on the post office box. Sorry. 10-year-old boy joke. Can't help it. I have an 8-year-old nephew. He's awesome. He's getting me back in touch with my inner 8-year-old child. And you see how rubbing it too, it creates a fading effect in and out of where the sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, the sort of main smear of the mark is. I don't want a lot on the upper areas. I just want it to look like dust. So I'm just going to do a little bit. in some of the areas, not much. Just a little bit. Pretty happy with that. See that? There's like this discoloration now. It's got this weird sort of subtle brown tint. Looks like sort of dust. That's what I'm going for. I could do a smear right there to kind of balance this out. So there's some weight of it here and some weight of it here. Kind of makes it look like it could have occurred that way, and it doesn't put it all in one spot. Or if you want to make a really rusty spot, you could just stipple a big circle and tap out. I've done that on pieces to look like there's just like one spot that got a lot of moisture, especially in the dumpsters that I do. I'll stipple a ton in one spot and maybe it look like maybe a box full of something, you know, oil and vinegar was sitting there in the dumpster for too long before it got dumped and it started eating away at the corner of the dumpster. Stuff like that. Storytelling, right? Come up with a reason that it happened. It just breathes on that to put some moisture so I could wipe some more away. Okay, so that's the nutmeg brown. All right. A lot of people think of rust as orange, but it's actually mostly browns and oranges that create like red, brown, orange tones. And now I'm going to take this, which is very bright. I'm going to get a lot less on my brush, and I'm going to go over some of those areas with just a little bit of this, and then I'm going to just wipe it in like that. I do show the same technique on my dumpsters in my dumpster weathering video. It's an older video, but I do show mostly the same paint techniques in that with some slight variation. So if you want to see some more of that action, go check out my dumpster weathering video. And I will tend to follow the natural shape of the smears I already created, right? Because you're typically going to see orange on its own. You're going to see it fading into brown and other colors. So I'm adding it in as a highlight to stuff I already did. So I'm going to maybe just a little bit up here, just a little bit in the corner here, maybe a little bit in this corner. And I think that's it for there. Actually, I might wipe some away now that I see it. Just take a little bit away. Yep. A little tiny bit right there for the fun of it. Yep. A little bit right there. Right there. A little bit in this, maybe a little bit more here. Looked a little bit blue to me. Too blue. Okay. And then maybe some water accumulated on the top edge of this sticker. Because this sticker has dimension too, right? So we put a little bit up here, smear it down onto the sticker, just a little, not a lot. You do a lot, it looks too much. But it accumulates there, it eats the paint, and then creates a rust smear on the sticker. There you go. Maybe it's got a little bit going on here. A little bit right there, not too much. If you do weathering too even, it looks fake. So whatever I do on this side, if I mirror it here, I do this here and I mirror it there, it can start to look fake because it looks intentional. I'm trying to avoid that. So brass isn't going to rust, so I'm not going to put rust below the brass. And this drip edge is here to protect the door, so there should be minimal or no rust rear on this handle and right below this. Down here on the hinges, it makes sense in the hinge section, but right here, there's the drip edge here meant to grab the water and wick it down over here, so it'll accumulate in here, but not go into the actual mail slot, because this folds it down so they can collect the mail, and that's meant to protect that so it doesn't get your mail wet. So, and this shouldn't be, maybe you have a little spot that's sun faded because of the angle of the sun, but you really shouldn't have any rust in there if it's built properly. Maybe here on the edge. But that is about it. So I will tell you, I'm actually very happy with this. If I was going to make this to sell, I would probably stop right here. If I just wanted a mailbox that's been rusty, right? Again, you go back to the beginning and you rewind all this. Oh, I forgot to do the orange on the bottom, didn't I? Sorry. Before I conclude my explanation of the wet weathering, let me do the stippling on the bottom. Forgot about that. So again, following sort of the same patterns, but not going all the way out to the edge. The same patterns I already did, just to add a brighter rust to the center areas of these blotches. And you can use, I'm just using this, I'm used to this flat sort of filbert brush, but you can do it with a round brush. A round brush would probably give you more control over doing these blotchy areas, not so much on the edges and in the seams, but I've gotten used to using a filbert brush for just about everything. So I'm just comfortable with it. But if you want to try different brushes, then that works. I'm so used to just working with whatever I have that I've gotten used to working with the same paints and the same brushes to create all kinds of effects. I'm actually kind of thankful for it because incidentally I've figured out a lot with a lot less, but you also can get to a point where it can box you in. So tread conscientiously. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for weathering on this thing. So now I might put a couple graffiti marks on here. I'm not going to go too crazy with it. I'm not a graffiti artist, but I know how to do some basic stuff. So let me get some stuff to do that with here. There they go. I have super high quality paint markers, but I don't know where I put them. Everybody say hi to Bricky. I don't know where my Connect 4 pins are. Oh, here they are. Nope, that's not it. I don't know where they are. Where'd they go? I just saw them the other day, and my ADD is making me lose track of them. Well, we're definitely going to use a Sharpie, and I have these other paint pens that are nice, but they don't start up as easily as the other ones. Where'd they go? I know this is riveting, guys. Hold on. Oh, you know what? It might be in my box of stuff from IMOMA. Hold on a sec. I think I took them to IMOMA so I could sign pieces that people bought. I'm gonna go over there for a sec. Hold on. Well, I don't know where they are right now. That's okay. I don't need every single color. I'm only going to do a couple. Oh, and one of you, I saw your comment earlier, but I forgot about it. One of you asked me what Bender action figure is in the thumbnail. That's the older, excuse me, the older Futurama toy line by Toynami. It's the Toynami Bender. So, yeah. So we're just going to do this. I've demonstrated this before, but I'll go over it again. If you're not a graffiti artist, which I'm not, but a good way to kind of sell the illusion is write a word, but don't pick up your pen and over accentuate a certain angle. So for example, let's see, styro goo, right? If I write that in English, in regular letters, in my regular handwriting, you know, that's regular handwriting. But if I don't pick up my pen and just move really quick, right, it starts to look a little bit like graffiti, kind of all run together a little bit. But then you can kind of take that and kind of create a style. So if every time I swoop up really high, or every time I go back, I cross over the previous letter, or every time I go up or down, I swing it wide, or every time I try to create a letter, I do a little back curl, like, you know, if I do my S and then I kind of curl it back, you know, or T and curl it back, or a Y and curl it back. Just little things like that can start adding style. It starts to appear very graffiti-esque, right? So let's tag the side of this. Let me just tag it. I just wrote Euler, all run together. Do another one down here. I wrote diorama. And let me see, let me do something, see if I can do something in red. So these are nice. These acrylic paint pens. They're water-based. The water-based ones are ideal because they do dry up pretty quick if you don't take care of them. But these ones, this brand is nice, but it takes a little while to get the paint out. Sometimes you have to kind of push. There we go. Oh, that happened pretty quick, thankfully. I have these ones called, I think they're called Connect 4 is the brand. I have no idea where I put them. Those are very, very smooth. I love them. They're my favorite ones that I've used so far. I've only used about three brands, I think. Yeah, 3 brands. This one, that one. No, I've also used the Sharpie brand. These are garbage. I don't even know why I grabbed this. I probably should throw these away. These Sharpie brand ones, they dry up so fast. Blech. I like Sharpies, but this Sharpie brand paint pen is not ideal. So, CT, I'm glad. CT's gonna run away and go make graffiti mailboxes, sell them on the 1/6 scale black market to Toys Wonderland. Okay, here we go. Here. Oh, come on. Now it wants to. How dare you? Bah! Now it doesn't want to work. No! Okay, well, that's fine. Unfinished graffiti. That works too. Hold on. Let me... I swear I can find these if I just look for them. So, Red Snapper, Igor, and Vulture. Hi. Okay, hold on. Let me just see if I can find them, because it's going to look way cleaner if I can find them. I just don't know where I put them. Like everything else in my workshop. It's the same company that I bought these really nice water-based spray paints from that are specifically designed for graffiti. These guys, Evolve, company is Evolve. So I think they're called Evolve Connect 4. These are really, really beautiful paint colors that I bought. I just bought some that I wanted to experiment with. They're water-based aerosol paint colors. You have to shake them a lot to get them smooth, but they're beautiful, beautiful paints. And it's the same brand. So Evolve, I think it's Evolve Connect 4, if you want to look them up. I'll find a link. I never know how my streams are going to go before I do them. So I don't... Oh, did I just find them? Yeah. Black box in shadow. There they are. Evolve. Sorry, 004 Connect. That's what it is. I keep wanting to say Connect 4 because of the game. It's right there. I'll put a link in the description for like an Amazon link if they even have them on Amazon. If not, I'll link their website. I never know how my streams are going to go, so I don't put a bunch of links in beforehand anymore because I never know what I'm going to demonstrate. So I will remember pastels and Connect 4 Evolve markers. But these are really nice. You'll see. Let's try that again. These are, I haven't even opened all of them, you can see here. Super nice. Let's do some pink and some red. There we go. Look at that. Look how much flow that is. So much better. Okay. I wrote CT603 because CT's here. Way better. And then let me show you something you can do. Once you use these paint pens, you can drip them down with a brush. You can also just do this with the paint pen if you want, but I like the brush method because it looks a little bit more like a naturally, properly scaled drip. If you do it with the pen, the drip is the same size as the ink run, and it looks a little bit less real. There we go. Look at that. Yeah. Here's the pink. Yes, these flow so much better. Let's see. There's your Fender F and C for figure craft. This is how I come up with graffiti, guys. So I'm literally putting your names in the chat on my item here. But like, I don't, you know, I don't know. I'm not cool enough to make up like graffiti group names and tag names and stuff like that. So I just look at objects around me, or I think of a subject, or I open a book and I use words from that. And that's what I graffiti, because you know, unless you knew what I wrote, you know, nobody's going to know what that is or that is, you know, because I told you, but no one's going to figure out CT-603 or Euler from that. That's how I come up with words for graffiti. So all my dumpsters have a theme to them that I've ever made when I graffiti them. So I have a Pokemon dumpster I did. It's all names of Pokemon that I did, because they look, you can't tell what they are, and the spellings, like Raichu, a big R and a big H and a big U, like it looks interesting, but you have no idea it's the name of a Pokemon, but it makes for really cool looking graffiti, right? So that's how I come up with words for graffiti, to be honest. I think it works really well, and I've actually, since I've said that too, I shared that a long time ago, and I was watching somebody else, I don't know, probably 2 years ago, talk about how they do graffiti, and they said the same thing, and that we have never met or talked. And I was like, hey, you know, I thought it was funny, because it's like they were the same boat I was. They weren't a graffiti artist, but they were trying to come up with, what do I write when I try to do miniature graffiti? They did the same thing. So it's like, it must be like a go-to default or something. So let's go with a baby blue here. Let's see, let's do one more. Who else is in the chat? How about Troy? Dodson, we've got Dodson here. Here, we'll do this side. There we go. I wrote Troy Dodson. Dodson's the last name. So, again, taking my brush, pulling down to create some drips. All right, I'm even gonna, I think I have enough on here on the pink to do a little bit of it. Yep. You don't want to push too hard too. I've made the mistake of pushing too hard, and then it pulls the paint off and smears it away from the original writing, and then it looks like you smeared it instead of look like it's dripping. So I think I'm satisfied with that. You could also, I actually, I have a library of miniature bumper stickers that I made in Photoshop a long time ago, and I printed out like 10 sheets of them, and I cut them out and I'll glue them onto dumpsters just for stickers. Like I have random stickers. Actually, you know what? Let me, do I have one handy? I think I do. Let me grab one of them. Where's the, oh, I'll get to it. The bird poop's got to be last. Bird poop has to be last. So again, these markers are fabulous. Love these. Love these markers. Sharpie is garbage. These Liquitech ones are really nice, but they don't flow as smoothly over time. So if you plan on storing markers for a long period of time, get these. These are real nice. I'm sure there's other ones too that work just as well or better, but in my experience, out of these three, Sharpies and some other ones, very happy with these. Okay. This is a binder I keep that's got a bunch of printed materials that I use periodically in them. See if I can find my stuff here. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Biohazard symbols. There we go. Printed electrical outlets. Electrical, chemical. Yeah, I made a big Photoshop library of these probably about 6 or 7 years ago when I was doing a lot more individual items to sell, and I just print them off when I need them. Here we go. Bumper stickers and logos. So this is one from our area specifically. Keep Tahoe Blue. That's a Lake Tahoe, League to Save Lake Tahoe sticker. So I've thrown that on a few dumpsters. What do we got here? Well, these are some actual stickers I made for some trash cans. Hold on here. What else have I got? Here's some Star Wars graffiti things I did. There we go. Here we go. Here's some good ones. Corn is not the answer. Parks and recreation. One's man's trash is another man's treasure. That was a fun one to put on a dumpster. Oh, here we go. Some Futurama ones. Slurm and Bachelor Chow. I just pick stuff that I like and would make me laugh, or I think would be interesting. So let's see. Let's do. I could probably take these off now. Sweaty hands. Have to clean this up real good when I'm done. Here, let's move this back over here. And oh, I got the superhero coexist sticker, little laboratory, all kinds of things I liked. This I love you in sign language. This is actual sticker paper too. Let me get a not art one. I think that's fun and goofy and obvious and ironic. Just cut this circle out here. I actually had these printed on sticker paper just to try them. I will say putting stickers on miniatures they're likely not to stay with just the stick alone unless it's a paper sticker. These are printed on like a pseudo vinyl, and the vinyl likes to peel off paint for some reason. But if it's a paper sticker, it usually will stick great. Something about the thinness of the material and the way that it cures. The actual sticks cures is way better. But like the vinyl stickers, I actually add glue. I'm not cutting this out very well, am I? I actually add super glue to the vinyl stickers because they will just peel off eventually. And then sometimes I'll even seal them in a gloss coat if I am so inclined. Yeah, figure craft. Hey, have a good night, man. Sticker. And get the super glue. And to make it look authentic, well, I guess I'm going to put it right there. That's where the glue landed. Got to put it at a slight angle. There we go. Not art. Just so everyone knows, this is not art. Hold on one sec. Let me just set this here before I forget. And we need to make we need some mail, so let's make a couple of envelopes here really quick. Just cut these out. Have one I already made here. Make a few more. These envelopes are really easy to make. Once you have them printed, you basically just fold them in half. And if you want to add it to make it look like it's got something in it, you just put a piece of paper in it, honestly, and it's enough thickness. I'll show you in just a sec to make it look that way. You can do the same thing with just manila folder material or the little 5x8 clasp envelope that I had. That's that brown manila color. I think that's the right term. You can literally cut those up and fold them over and make little packages out of that material because it's the right material. It's already the right color. So you can just cut rectangles out like this and then fold them in half and make little packages. I actually demonstrate that in my how to make miniature boxes video. If you want to see a 45-minute video on that, that is here on the channel. That didn't come out right. Come on. There we go. So, flat nose pliers work great for this. And I use my fingernail to crease it and fold it over, right? Same thing here. Fingernail to crease it, fold it over. Then you can just take, well, one of the cutoff pieces from trimming it up. And honestly, that's usually enough. Just fold it in half like that and then fold that shut. It adds just enough dimension to it. Maybe another piece. Just enough dimension and thickness to it to make it look like there's some type of thing inside of it. Like that. And then I get some binder clips. Some binder clips. And I'll just spread some glue on the edges if it'll cooperate. Glue is getting all over the place. Then grab your binder clips. Just close the edges. Like that, and then just give it a chance to dry. Take a few minutes. I've also rolled some tape in this one to shut it. You can do it with tape, just a little piece of paper. It's really all you need. Very easy. It's always fun when I link in my description of these these when I sell, like I said, I sell these on my Etsy store, and pre-printed or printable templates. You can just buy one and print as many off as you want. And people go, oh, there's no instructions. I'm like, I literally put how to get to my YouTube channel in the description so you can watch it. So, hey, CT, thanks for becoming a channel member, man. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. All right. There we go, binder clips. And we can just glue one flat if we want to here. You don't have to use super glue for this either. You can use white glue. White glue works fine on cardstock. I print this on 65-pound cardstock so that it's got some body to it. So if you're going to do this, I would recommend printing it on 65-pound cardstock. Anything heavier is probably too heavy for your printer. Anything lighter probably won't look right in scale or won't glue correctly. So there's that. This one, let's see if this one is done. Yep. So now we've got our little package here, and we can, oh, that end kind of opened up still. Let me close that one back up for a little bit. But you can both bend the edges and fold it, and then you've got some dimension to it. So when you've got a figure holding it, it actually has some girth. So it actually looks appropriate. See how these look. Got a little bit of seam overlap going on there, so I'm just going to trim it off. There we go. There we go. There we go. Same thing. There's a little bit of thickness there. So let me grab Bender. So we've got, hey, it's me, Bender. We can put Bender in there. and Bender can hold it. And there's that one. And then, there we go. Good enough. Need some more glue, but I'm too impatient right now. So now we can have our mailbox. Get it out of the way, everything. We can have our mailbox, and we can have our mail. We can have Bender yelling at the mailbox. Hey, you stupid mailbox. And, yeah. We can have Bender yelling at the Postal Service. That seems like something Bender might do. There we go. They all fit in his hand there. Come on. There we go. And there we go. Let me take this off so we can get in close here. Come on, focus. There we go. Ta-da! Thank you again for all the likes, guys. I appreciate that. What do you guys think I should do for my... my goodness, stupid cough. For my 50th episode? Should I just make an endless amount of miniature mailboxes? Or should I make... what should I do? What do you think I could do in 3 to 5 hours? Or what would you want to see? Or should I just do an Ask Me Anything and sit here and try to entertain everybody with just talking and not actually showing? Let me know. I need some help. Put it in the comments below in the future times, or you can DM me on Instagram. So I will be doing an episode 50 here before the end of the month, and just like to do something fun and new and interesting, whatever it happens to be. Try to come up with something new I haven't shown, or just something interesting people would like to see. Maybe even if I've done it before. We got a lot of new people here, and I probably should circle back to some of the stuff that they haven't seen that I did 2-3 years ago. And just maybe do it in a new way. So thank you, CT, for becoming a channel member. Thank you for all the channel members that came by today. I tried to show something new. Arcade cabinet. Okay, I could do that. We got New Wave Toys producing amazing ones, and I do have some buddies out there who do it as well. But I try to do my best not to step on any other artist's toes, but sometimes it's unavoidable. I know some people out there have used the techniques I've shown, and done very well with them, so I guess I shouldn't worry about it. But yeah, we could do an arcade cabinet maybe. That's an idea. I'm not saying I will, but that's a great idea. Thank you. Maybe we could make up an arcade game. That's going to require some printing and Photoshop prep on my end if we did. I mean, I would just be able to do the shape live, but if I wanted to do like a screen and graphics and stuff on the side, I'd have to do a bunch of Photoshop pre-show work to actually finish it on stream. More types of furniture, Maurice, like what kind of furniture? I did the wooden table already and the wooden chair. So I don't know specifically just another material or a different type of furniture altogether. What do you think? Impact crater, like a superhero came crashing down. Okay. I know some of my friends have good videos on how to do that. I've done some similar techniques. We could do an impact crater. There's a billion ways of doing that. Do you want it in rock? Do you want it in concrete? Do you want it in asphalt? Do you want it in the side of a building? What do you want? Sofas and couches? Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, I actually do want to do a sofa at some point. I couldn't decide if I wanted to do it live or as a recorded video. Live would be good though. I mentioned this before, I have a lot of things I'd like to do this year before the end of the year as recorded videos. So I'm trying to transition and separate out lives from recorded videos and make them separate head spaces for different types of audiences and what people might like to see. So yeah, I'm down for suggestions that are good for live builds, and a sofa is a good one. Sofa is a good one. And if I did a sofa, I would do it out of fabric. I would do the gluing method. I wouldn't do a foam sofa, because I mean foam sofas are good. There's a lot of guys that do them really well, but I'd want to go like full miniature artist and do like actually with like soft pillows and stuff like that, or as much of it as I could get away with in 3 to 5 hours. I might be able to do a sofa in 5 hours. I think I could do that. But let me think about it. More suggestions, please. More. Let me know whether you think of them now or think of them later. Comment on this video too, whatever your suggestions are. If you leave and come back to Art in Real Time episode 49 and let me know what you think of. I will try to pick something good. I have other things I'm going to get to eventually, but I don't think for episode 50. So like a water tower, I will demonstrate here, either in a video or live. I haven't decided yet. I will do that. I just don't know when, but I'm not going to do that in episode 50. I'm going to reserve that. And then I will be demonstrating different types of trees, but I'm thinking I'm going to save those for a diorama video because they're going to fit well into a diorama video. Yeah, so I'd like to demonstrate objects and stuff, so a sofa's a good idea. Office wheelie chairs, pinball machine. Yeah, those are good suggestions. Pinball machine. Yeah, that's a fun one. That's a difficult one too, to try to sell the idea of the fact that it could work. But I like a challenge. That's what I do. I like to do ridiculous things. It's kind of what I got known for. People now, you know, they're, hey, could you do this? I'm like, ugh. Why did I say I could do that? Now people ask me for it. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna let you guys go because I actually don't have my phone charger with me. My battery is dying, so I'm glad I finished that in time. But I will share this on Instagram, and I'll keep this, and I think maybe I'll keep this as a demonstration piece. I like to try to keep as many things as I can to show off if I go to physical in-person shows, but at the same time I don't like to keep things sitting around in the dust. So maybe down the road when I hit another milestone in subscribers, maybe I'll give this away. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Be kind to each other. The world is a crazy place, probably going to get crazier. So try not to be one of the contributing crazies. I know sometimes we are incidentally, but you know, let's try not to make the world worse off. Let's try to leave it. Just try to leave it better than we got it. So have a good night. Thank you, Eric Bradshaw. Thanks to all the channel members, Nightwolf and Troy, and everybody who was here that I didn't mention, and everybody that came in that I don't normally see in the chat. Thank you for being here live. All the 1/6 scale family members here that came by. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you later. Have a good week.